Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn connects you with experts from all over the world to help you take charge of your career, your business, and your life. Rap along with us. Visit drjacalyn.com to learn how to become a guest or a sponsor. And now, the doctor is in.
Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be here. You are watching Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn, celebrate Great Britain Royally Rich Show. Wow, I feel like I'm at a party. It's so exciting. Our show is all about promoting business, tourism, and communities between our two great countries of the United States of America and Great Britain. I am your host, executive producer, director, and broadcaster, Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. With me today is my co-host, Cini, and the stars of our show, Ian Pelham Turner and Helena Chard. I'm so excited. Let's bring out Mr. Cini first. Hi, Al.
Hey, Dr. Jacalyn, it's time to go to the UK. They're open for business. We had a quick conversation with one of Ian and Helena's guests this morning before the program, and their lockdown is coming to an end. Thank heaven.
Oh, yes. So exciting. So exciting. So this, you look quite dapper, by the way. I'm loving the hat. I love it with the jacket. I feel you look great.
I'm not a hat guy, but yes.
Well, it looks great. It looks great. So, Al, I'm so excited about this show because in addition to Ian and Helena being here, they have brought us some amazing guests, and I am learning so much about the UK and about London and about what's going on there from an entertainment perspective, from an advocacy perspective, from a film perspective. It's just amazing.
Culture is about stories, and Ian and Helena this week, as in every week, have brought some great stories for us to listen to. So looking forward to it. They
sure have. Let's bring them out. They're backstage. Here they are. Welcome.
Hi.
Hi. Great to see you both.
So it's good morning to you, and it's good afternoon in our country at the moment.
Good afternoon.
I love the hat as well.
Look, it's stunning. Stunning. You're looking very bronze.
Thank you. Yeah, that's how you'll recognize me when I get off the plane.
Yeah. Oh, we'll recognise you, Al. We'll recognise you.
Good.
You're stars already in UK, you know that.
That's exciting. I'm really looking forward to coming over there in the beginning of next year. So, so much to see and do. And thank you for bringing us amazing guests today. And I know they're backstage. We're going to be bringing them out. But you always have great stories about what's going on over there with the royal family and with the UK. And we're so grateful to both of you. Thank you for your partnership.
Wonderful. Bless you with that.
Thank
we're
you.
very
You're
happy.
most welcome. We're so happy. Thank you. It's a great collaboration. And Al, you hit it on the head. So hugging, hospitality, theatre, creative industries are back here in the UK, and we are absolutely thrilled. It's been so long awaited, and for all the artists and people that have been struggling during this time, there are bookings that are coming in, which is so positive.
That is such great news.
We're so thankful. There are so many different places at the moment that are receiving bookings, which is fabulous. One of them being Madame Tussauds in London. I guess you have yours out there as well. And amazingly, people are, we're getting bookings now. They're just pencils that are coming in from abroad, which is great. And they've actually introduced an awards party zone in at Tussauds, and so corporate bookings are having loads of time. Obviously, everyone wants lots of fun, and busy. Best of British events coming in. There's no concrete bookings, but there is work, especially for lookalikes. But that's for another time. We'll talk about that another time. But that's
Helena. Quick question I have. Thank you for sharing that. Are the airports open?
Yeah, airports are open. I mean, we have got we have certain rulings going on, and you have to completely comply to everything in order to do it. And then you have the different green, red, orange, I don't know, different things that I don't know it completely, but I think what I'm talking about is like in advance. So it's the pencils that are coming in. So it's the interest that people are so raring to go. And Best of British events do so well here in the UK, and it's really good to have different countries wanting to come over and see us. Yay!
I was just going to ask.
It's a wonderful place to explore. What a great vacation destination.
Yeah, what is it like in America for airports at the moment? Because we're not sure in UK whether we can fly into America yet again? Is there restrictions? Do you know?
I don't think we can at the moment.
I haven't flown, but they're open. People are flying. People are going on vacations. People are traveling.
Yeah.
I think you still have to wear the mask.
Yeah, that's one of the main things that we're sort of saying right now is obviously there's still a lot of these restrictions. They're saying that our Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, is saying by the middle of June, perhaps those restrictions might go, but we are still fighting some of these viruses at the same time. So, but everybody is happy in London. Everybody is smiling in London. The sun is shining. I'm going to say in London today as well.
Hailstone, but it
What
doesn't
more can
matter.
we say?
It's shining.
It's sunny here as well in New Jersey. It's going to be 81 degrees today. It's absolutely beautiful.
Beautiful here too. Great.
Wow,
So I think you've got some great stories.
So we're going to start with Prince Charles, our future king, who we love dearly. I do think sometimes he has a rough ride with innuendos, etc. But I think what I love about Prince Charles is he has a zest for environmental issues. And at the moment, we have the Queen's Green Canopy initiative, and it's all about planting a tree for the Jubilee. I mean, as we know, next year, it's 70 years that she's been on the throne, which is incredible. It's phenomenal. We cannot believe it. And she's still going strong. And so now it's the way to celebrate is for everyone to plant a tree. And Prince Charles has, in fact, started the ball rolling by planting an oak sapling in Windsor Castle. And the initiative has been launched as part of Chelsea Flower Show. So that's got going. But I think it's quite heartfelt. It's something that's quite simple. And the whole thing is, it's a statement of hope and faith in the future, which I think is incredibly important. After the last couple of years, it's such a positive thing. So everyone has to plant a tree. Obviously, it has to be the right tree in the right place, but it's going to help with climate change, give housing to lovely wildlife. It's going to help our well-being. I mean, there's so many different things. I think it's such a simple gesture, and I love it. And Judi Dench, I don't know if you know Dame Judi Dench, but she is a fabulous actress over here, and she is one of the ambassadors. And one of the things she does, which I think is lovely, it's a real heartfelt thing, is she always plants a tree for all of her friends and people that have passed away as a positive. And we had a lovely programme over in the UK about that. But we love Prince Charles.
We love Prince Charles, but I think also, wasn't it great when Prince Charles was out planting the tree the other day on Saturday? Where was the Queen? Right beside him. There she is again. It was quite a blustery day. She had her headscarf on and so forth, but the Queen, stoic as ever, standing up strong. And just a very quick story that just reminds me about trees is that there is a hospice, a children's hospice in the east of England, and that every time a president of America used to come to Britain, they would go to this hospice, and it's a long standing agreement. It goes all the way back to Lyndon Johnson, I think, and even further back than that, where they would come and plant a tree actually in the orchard by this hospice. And it's been a tradition forever there. So American presidents love our trees as well.
Wonderful.
That's phenomenal. We do have a comment, which is from Michael Green, fruit trees. I'm not sure exactly what that means, but do you have any insights on that?
We have loads of fruit trees here in the UK. I don't know about with you. Apple trees. Fabulous HM the Queen.
Fabulous. That's brilliant. Thank you, Michael.
Her Majesty has planted so many trees in different areas and different openings, over 150. And she actually does also dig, and thinking about at her age, isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
We're not talking about digging down meters and meters, but she will, she makes the effort to do that, which is fabulous.
It's a great story. I don't think many of us really appreciate how difficult it is to plant a tree or climb a flight of stairs when we know there are 7 billion people watching us do it.
Yes, that's true, Al.
Got to give them credit for their poise and their ability to represent the culture of Great Britain the way they do.
Absolutely.
We do have we do have a photograph. Helena, would you like me to share that?
Yeah, we can show, because I think this is Prince Charles. It's one of my photographs, and I think he is, look at our future king. I think there he is in military attire with his wife Camilla Parker Bowles, and they're actually chatting. I think this is Battle of Britain. This was taken. They're chatting, and doesn't he look smart? That's what I would say. I do love Prince Charles. I do. And in fact, he is at the moment also saying, it's been suggested with our commentators that we've been speaking to, that he's about to open up, or once he's king, he's about to open up the royal palaces to the public. So it's one of these scenarios. We've got like Buckingham Palace, Clarence House, Windsor Castle, Sandringham and Balmoral. So we've got lots of palaces, and the royals are in residence a lot of the time. And we have things like summer exhibitions, things that take place each year, but only for a certain amount of months. So the whole thing is to make it an open thing. So it's like open for the people as well. They will be in residence too. It almost is a bit like, I think Prince Charles is going to be the people's king. That's what I think.
Yeah. And just finally, one of the things that not many people know as well is that the Queen is a very keen gardener herself. And most days she's out with a trowel and she's cutting dead leaves off. She's got a very small garden by the side of the castle, and she's going out and she's really sort of making sure that her own garden is very good. And one day, this friend of mine, he saw the Queen, and she seems to be struggling by herself. So he went over, he broke protocol, and he went over and said, "Can I help you, Mum, with this?" And she was most grateful that someone else was helping her with her gardening. So the Queen is a great gardener as well.
She is. And just to say as well that although summer exhibitions have been cancelled now for 2 years, sadly, there are small tours that are taking place in Buckingham Palace. And in a couple of months, or a month, 2 months, the gardens will be open, and they are stunning, absolutely beautiful. You'll see all the different planting. You'll be able to have garden picnics, and it's something which, I am personally really looking forward to, because it's a lovely, lovely big estate.
Wow.
Sounds incredible. And I was reading something about initiatives over in the UK to help preserve the bee community. Have you heard about that? Is it true?
I mean, the reality is that a certain type of bees are being attacked at the moment. And so I think they're introducing a different type of bee back into Britain as well, to actually try and fight these other bees that are trying to kill the other species off at the same time. So and they're known as apiaries. And so the beekeepers of Britain are up in arms at the moment over these foreign bees that are coming in, who are trying to take over the apiaries of Britain. We don't want foreign bees. We only want British bees.
That's so funny. Well, we do have another comment from Michael. Sir David Attenborough is a personal friend too. And then there's more of Her Majesty the Queen. Okay.
Yeah, that's absolutely. They're very, very good friends, Sir David Attenborough and Her Majesty the Queen. They're actually a similar age as well. And look, both of them, actually, if you think about it, they both look and are so healthy and fit, both of them.
So Dr. Jacalyn, you've actually saved my life in one way.
How is that, Ian?
How's that? Interesting.
I was listening to one of your shows the other day, and I've been feeling slightly tired recently, and a couple of other things. And then I was listening to your show the other night with the personal trainer, and he was saying protein. Have protein.
Yes.
Thinking, do I have protein? So last night, there I am. I'm actually Googling, should I have protein? At 10 o'clock at night, should I have protein? Yes, I should, because I'm showing all the examples. So I go to the fridge, and I'm eating chicken, would you believe? At 10 o'clock last night.
Now, Ian, I have a question. Had you already eaten dinner?
Yes.
Okay, so
But no protein.
I try to have protein at every meal. I'm sorry, Helena, go ahead, please.
There's dinner and dinner. I would say that Ian, if he was honest, I don't think he eats enough, funnily enough. That's probably for another time.
Yes, I think so. I think so. We're going to break and hear from some of our sponsors, and then we'll be back. And I know we've got a full house backstage with your guests, so we can't wait to bring them out. Absolutely. So stay with us here on Celebrate Great Britain Royally Rich Show. We're thrilled to have you. We'll be right back.
Great.
Thank you.
The session that we had with BCAT was really entertaining and enlightening. We were able to put together some very specific steps that we as individuals can take, and it was really fun to all come together and see sort of where we're going as a team and how we can all get there together.
We had a tremendous experience with the BCAT partners. One of the challenges that we have as an organization is to make sure that we have the right people in the right chairs doing the right thing. To do that well, you have to have synergy. You can try to dream up ways to make sure that your group does that, or you can rely on experts. We would recommend BCAT partners to anybody who's looking to take their organization to the next level.
It's what we do together that counts. The BIC Alliance story. A true story about faith over adversity, perseverance, and entrepreneurship. Read Earl's story and how he became an entrepreneur. Available on Amazon, Kindle, and Audible.com. For more information, contact Earl Hurd at earlhurd@bicalliance.com or call 1-800-460-4242.
The world is changing, and your company needs to change with it. Whether it's procurement, employment, marketing, or customer service, it's now more important than ever for your business processes to be inclusive to people with disabilities. Hi, I'm Trish Robichaud with Changing Paces, and I'm here to tell you that making your business processes accessible to people with disabilities is simply good for business. Accessibility and inclusion are the law. But here's what you may not realize. Disability inclusion is an opportunity, not an obstacle. In fact, a recent 4-year study found that companies that fully embrace disability inclusion had a 30% higher profit margin than those that didn't. Your investment in staff disability inclusiveness training can pay off in areas like innovation, brand recognition, as well as customer and employee satisfaction and loyalty, not to mention productivity and profitability. At Changing Paces, we can help you make that happen for your business. Our experts have real-life experience that will help your team gain insight and best practices they won't get anywhere else. And we can help you create a customized training program to bring your organization into compliance with local and industry regulations. This topic is very close to my heart for me, very personal. Dealing with the challenges of MS for the past 25 plus years and having lost my job as a result of my diagnosis back then, I've made it my mission to bring disability out of the darkness and create a more welcoming environment for people of all abilities. As a pioneer in the field of inclusiveness, our company developed and implemented one of the first accessible customer service training programs in Canada. We provide complete online training solutions that blend with your branding, your policies, and your systems. Between our disability subject matter experts and our technical partners, we can provide you with both the content and the platform that you need to create an evergreen training program that empowers your people while it transforms your organization and your company culture. In short, we make disability inclusion easy in all parts of your business. Contact us now for a quote or consultation at info@changingpaces.com. Your bottom line will thank you.
Welcome back. We are so excited to have you. This is Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn, Celebrate Great Britain Royally Rich Show. And I'm with my co-host, Mr. Al Cini, and the stars of our program, Ian and Helena, and their guests. Turning it over to you, Ian and Helena.
Hi, Brooke. Well, this is Brooke Olefami. Now, I met Brooke in a very strange way on a subway about a year ago. We met and we started talking, and she is one of the most talented young journalists in Britain today, and she has so many great stories to actually talk about. And I hope you're going to come on regularly and give her really a good insight into what's happening to young music. So I know, Brooke, you've got a special person that you want to talk about today. So just tell me a little bit about who you are, first of all, the amount of different radio shows that you're doing at the moment, and also who is this young person you want to promote?
Brilliant. Well, let me first start by saying thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate you guys thinking of me and bringing me on the show. It's amazing to just be here with you guys today. So thank you so much for having me. Right, so who am I? You're all asking. Right, so my name is Brooke Olefami, and I am a radio and TV entertainment journalist. So I started off as a print journalist writing for lifestyle and entertainment magazines, and then I was coerced. For the last 15 years, people have said I need to be on broadcast radio and TV. So that's what I've been doing. I absolutely enjoy the entertainment, the arts. I love celebrity culture and just music in general. So that's what I've been doing for the last 4 years. And before that, it was print. And yes, so that's a little bit about me. So again, thank you for having me on the show. So today I wanted to really just introduce a really cool artist that we've got over here in the UK, and her name is Narcia. So Narcia is a London emerging R&B artist, and she burst onto our scenes in January. Now, Narcia makes R&B music, but the thing is, Narcia, she wrote a single. She came out with a single called Your Loss. Now, it was received really well. So she wrote it in December. And the funniest thing was she actually wrote it, she tells me, whilst doing a supermarket a supermarket shift. So she was at the food store, at a food supermarket, and she heard a tune, she heard a melody in her head, and she shot off to the staff room. She liked the melody, and she recorded on the spot the entire single. So just off the back of the music, so no pen, no paper, she heard the melody, and she recorded it. She went on to release it in January of this year, and it made absolute shockwaves across the music scene. She's been embraced by major radio stations, actually. And the reason is because she comes with a fresh, much needed sound, actually. So it's just something that we've actually all been waiting for. I've been moaning that where's real R&B, and for me, the reason she's blown up is because she fills a gap that people have been asking for. So that's a little bit about Narcia. And the reason her single did so well is because we're used to the sort of the factory manufactured industry machine that churns out these pop groups, and often they're watered down cookie cut groups. And she's burst into the scene with a fresh new sound, and everybody's embracing it. And it's music that you can connect to. It's fast paced, sometimes slow, but it's the lyrics. It's usually something you can connect to. Yeah.
And I think you've got a clip of this young lady, haven't you?
Yes, we certainly do. Let's take a look.
I've loosened my grip, hey. Oops, I fell in love like this before. That was I, standing right outside your door. Excuses, I feel like I have heard them all. I got loosened my
Beautiful.
I love that.
Yeah, that's lovely. Brooke, you've obviously got a talent in finding fine artists, as we can see. Do you think, obviously we're coming out of lockdown, things are opening up, is there going to be a resurgence now, singer-wise, do you think?
Do you know, it's very interesting, guys, actually, because it's really happening. It's really started. Now, what was interesting, about last year, it was a difficult year for most, and the whole world got the national call to stay at home because of this pandemic. And it was scary and it unfolded. And what was interesting and unique and scary and weird about this new time was, everybody was at home. It means that loads of people lost their jobs. And what one platform that did boom was the internet. Anyone that was doing anything on the internet, it was doing well, it was flourishing. And this includes the music industry. Now, yes, artists couldn't perform in concerts and theatres and all the rest of it, but they did have this social media. Now, what happened was during lockdown, we had many treats, sort of like versus battles. So you would see, maybe, I'll use an example, not one that did happen, but it will be versus battles where it will be like Britney Spears against Mariah Carey. You had a recent one which was SWV, a 90s pop group, SWV versus Escape. And this was all happening at the comfort of our own homes, and entertainers were entertaining us on live Instagram. So to answer your question, it's already started. So it gave them an opportunity to just explore this new platform. And another thing that's happening is that, funny enough, most of the artists I come across, it's actually on Instagram. So I see them first there before they're in the radio. So, yeah.
Really amazing. That's interesting.
Yeah, definitely.
Actually, yeah.
I have noticed that performers, musicians, singers, they have huge followings on Instagram, more so than other platforms. So that seems like a great place to find talent.
Absolutely. And they're using it to their advantage. And there's a shift as well in the way musicians are maneuvering in this industry. So a lot of them, they're turning their backs against the usual protocol of joining a label, and they're going it alone by themselves. So there's a lot of independent artists because they yearn for freedom. They want freedom over their creativity, how they're managed, how they're perceived, and how they make their money. And we all know that Instagram is a great tool. You've got influencers. It's a new niche. It's a new market. And actually, they've got a lot of following, and a lot of young following as well, who are the YouTube generation, the TikTok, the Instagram generation. And they're cultivating all of that. And a lot of them are going on it alone. So they've been emerging since lockdown, and you'll continue to see a host of new artists with new sounds, with new faces, with new genres. Yeah.
Brookie, I have a question first of all, nice to meet you. Great having you on the program. And my question is, how important is music, and especially young musicians, to the UK economy? And when do you think some of that talent might be finding its way over here?
Right, sure, right. So the thing is, music and is very important to the economy, and stats alone back that up. So actually, a fun fact that you probably don't know is that in the UK music industry contributes 5.6 billion to the UK economy. Now, that's nothing to be sniffed at. I'm sure you can agree. So what we're finding is that, and these were stats released in 2018. Now, so what has happened is that obviously we've seen lockdown has come and it's changed, concerts have been shut down and all the rest of it. But 5.8 billion is what the UK music industry brings to the British economy. And actually, what's actually interesting, I'm going to go ahead and give you some facts, actually. So, right, so I'm going to go ahead and give you some facts. So we saw an explosion of, music artists using social media platforms, but gigs, live gigs, concerts, fan pages, all of these things, they bring money to the economy, actually. So what's interesting is they've created a lot of jobs. They've in the UK, in 2018 stats say that they created 191,000 jobs just within the music industry. So you've got music ushers, you've got concertors, you've got promoters, you've got the performances themselves, you've got the art directors, everything, the choreographers, everything. It creates jobs for, you know, the ordinary people. And, you know, 5.6 billion is nothing to be sniffed at. So they really do go ahead to boost the UK economy. And because of this, during lockdown, actually, there's a lot of, you have the British Music Council, and you have other platforms that are, you know, saying to our government, to Rishi Sunak, and saying, please get behind us to within this time to help us, you know, to flourish, to grow, to create and continue to create jobs, and to continue to pump back into the economy. Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for sharing that. Great information, lots of great statistics. I'm wondering, here in the States, as Americans, is there some way that we can help promote musicians in the UK? And if so, what would that look like?
Sure. Just to bring something we haven't touched on, actually. So, and it's actually the issue of Brexit. So now most people don't liken the two to having a influence or a effect on the music industry, but it does. As you may or may not know, UK has left the EU. So, and however, you know, Brexit is a very real issue. So Britain has left the EU, and now logistically, when it comes to artists wanting to tour and all the rest of it, there is a major problem now. So in order for artists to decide they want to tour and come over to the UK, they actually have to adhere to certain laws. Now, in order for them to even be given to be allowed to come over, they have to already be recognised as a really big artist. Now, that's and they would have, most of these artists, they get their experience by touring in the EU. But now that there is Brexit, they'll even struggle to. It's almost like a CV. They tour around EU, and they make their name, they become really known, and then, you know, it gives them a position for when they apply for a visa to come to the US. Also, another big blow is visas. Visas to come to the US have doubled in rates. Now, even if you are really successful artists, so we've got the Ed Sheerans, the Dua Lipos, and all the other big artists that have come from the UK, even they find it expensive to go ahead and tour. Now, most of them either only break even or they're at a loss. And these are the really flourishing ones. So you can imagine what it's like. In fact, since these visas have doubled, it creates problems into maneuvering back and forth and getting recognized and continue to go over to the States. Yeah.
Thank you. That's great. Now we know that people need help, right? Musicians. I've spoken to so many people who haven't performed in over a year, and they can't wait to get back out. And so anything we can do here in the States to help them, I think, would be fabulous.
Absolutely. And, despite these issues going on, I think, artists are quite robust. I think they will find ways to maneuver around this. So I'm hoping that's what's going to happen. And we love the US, we love Americans. So if you can continue to, if you find like a rock star or whatever it is that you're into, R&B, pop, rock, if you find artists that you really like, continue to listen to music, continue to and pay for the music, go ahead and stream the music, anything that can inject more money to them so they can tackle things like getting the visas to come across. So, yeah.
Great.
That's fantastic. We are going to take a break. Brooke, it has been such a pleasure having you with us today. I just love everything that you're doing. Wonderful. And your talent comes out so clearly that you obviously are very gifted. So thank you again for being here.
Thank you. Take care. Have a good one.
Take care.
Bye-bye. Okay, we're going to take a break and hear from one of our sponsors, Listening to Smile, and then we'll be back with another exciting guest.
Terrific.
Take a look.
The music, services, and programs that we offer at Listening to Smile are based off of scientific studies and research, along with our own personal experiences and testimonials from our clients and our affiliates that we work with worldwide. My own personal journey began in around 2010, and I tried to find relief from a chronic illness that I was diagnosed with. And the traditional ways of healing, they tried to fit me in this box, and that didn't work for me for so many reasons. And this led me to a self-discovery that I never expected to be so life-changing. Healing is multifaceted. It requires us to really look at our whole selves and to get really honest about what we see. I started to see movement towards recovery when I started to integrate yoga into my life daily. When I started to incorporate the music into all aspects of my life, including my yoga practice, my healing completely accelerated. And listening to Smile's music helped me to open my consciousness. I was able to open my eyes to new perspectives and make changes that I needed to make in order to recover. The most noticeable difference that I saw right away, like immediately after listening to my first frequency track, was how much my anxiety stopped, completely stopped. There was such a relief. My mind was actually quiet for the first time in so many years. I felt safe. I felt this comfort and this peace immediately. I continued to listen daily, and I found that amazing things were happening inside of me. I felt calmer, I felt happier, I felt like I was in this little bubble of peace. Physically, I started to see the changes happening. I started to see the things happening in my body that needed to happen for me to heal from my illness. I felt empowered, I felt hopeful, and something that I hadn't felt in years. This is why we at Listening to Smile integrate yoga and Listening to Smile music together. We see such a huge benefit from integrating the music into other modalities of healing. It accelerates these modalities, it steps them up to another level because it works on the brainwave states and the neural pathways in the brain. This is something that is not very easy for us to do alone at home, but the Listening to Smile music makes that possible. This is where real change happens. This is where the body and the mind sync up and work towards health of the being as a whole. That is true health. And Listening to Smile frequency music will get you there.
Hi, my name is Zane Carson Caruth, and I'm the author of this book, The World's First Tooth Fairy Ever.
Reading is magic. Studies have shown that reading to your children lays the foundation for greater success in life. Reading helps develop language and vocabulary skills. It helps improve memory, and it encourages curiosity and inspires creativity. The benefits are immeasurable, and as a parent, you'll benefit too. In only 10 or 15 minutes a day, you'll be creating more memories and a bonding experience that will last for years to come. So take time to read to your children. Read them books about things that engage and interest them. Tales of fairies and magic fascinate children, and as everyone knows, the Tooth Fairy is at the top of the list. If your child loves magic, wands, adventure, and what child doesn't, you'll love reading them books from the trademarked series, The World's First Tooth Fairy Ever. Follow along as Bella, the world's first tooth fairy, accidentally starts the tooth fairy tradition. Learn the tricks of being a professional tooth fairy in the book, Bella Starts a Tooth Fairy School. Your child's imagination will soar as you read the adventures of Bella and her magic wand. These wonderful books are available at worldsfirsttoothfairy.com. and at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Walmart. Welcome back to Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn. My name is Al Cini, and Dr. Jacalyn, it's always a pleasure working with you and with Ian and Helena. And I got to tell you, I'm like most people. I hear my voice on playback, and I hate it. So Ian and Helena, you're going to introduce us to some guests who are going to help me get over that, aren't you?
Well, I didn't realize you were so shy.
It's not true.
I didn't expect you to be so shy this afternoon. But let's continue. Our next guest are Debra Wootton. Debra, hi, and Ellie as well, that is a voice winner at the same time. So I've got to read from my notes because there is so much to tell about Debra Wootton. My mind these days, I haven't got the memory from the past. So Debra, you're one of the founders of 529 Club in London, and we'll ask you a little bit about that in a minute. But you've created this voiceover talent show with Mark Summers and hosted by Francine Lewis on Clubhouse. So can you tell us about that, please? And can you also tell us about the wonderful Ellie, who I know is sat next to you as well? And we're going to ask you some questions as well, Ellie, in a minute. But first of all, let's start off with Debra. Oh, I think you're muted.
I think you're muted.
Sorry.
Okay.
It's a Clubhouse thing. We forget to unmute ourselves. So yeah, the best thing to do is start at the beginning. We set up the 5 to 9 Club at Pinewood Studios back in 2009 because the bar at the studios always closes at 3 o'clock, and we always wanted to get together. So we organised for the bar to be open from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. one day a month. So it was the first Thursday of every month. And then for the last 12 years, we've got together in person every month doing screenings and getting industry people to come and speak to people and do talks and, give insights and that sort of thing. And then I learned about Clubhouse at the beginning of February. I started going on there. And then 2 months ago, we set up the 5 to 9 Club on Clubhouse. And if anyone hasn't learned about Clubhouse yet, it is an amazing resource. It is a fantastic platform for people to be able to interact on a one-to-one level. And what I did, because I'm in animation and I know Mark Summers, who does a lot of casting, we quite quickly started organizing what they call rooms together on Clubhouse. And because he's in casting and I do animation, the question we were asked over and over again was, how do you get into voiceover acting? Because it's not the sort of agents that you get regularly. It's usually acting or writing or, they tend to be the norm. So what we decided is, why don't we do a voiceover contest on Clubhouse? So we started it off. I know Francine, who was one of the finalists from Britain's Got Talent. I asked her to host, and we got Emma Harvey from Harvey Voices, who's a renowned voiceover agency, to offer to take the winner for 6 months contract. So we had 4 weeks. Every Thursday, people would come up and they'd have 45 seconds to appeal to the audience. And then the audience would vote on who they liked the most. And the people with the top 4 votes would then go through to the semi-finals. We had such an amazing panel of judges, from Rick Party to Marcellus to El Michelle, people who've been in the industry, Rolanda. She's done like Kung Fu Panda and Madagascar. And Jay Simon. Oh, we had just an absolutely superb platform of judges that would give feedback to people. Some people would come back week after week, and one of those made it into the semi-finals. And then for the finals, we had them do 1 minute commercial, 1 minute of audio read, and one minute of characters. And the wonderful Ellie scored top marks in all 3 of the rounds. And that's why Ellie was our winner, and a deserved winner. And I am so looking forward to working with her in the future.
Debra, that's amazing. I love that. Thank you. And you are amazing at propelling people's dreams. It's such an amazing project. And I'm just wondering, are you seeking to do more work with Great Britain and the USA? And if so, can you share anything with us, if that's not too cheeky?
I can tell you that we are looking at doing something else, but I can't tell you what it is yet. But I am happy to come back and tell you all about it. Oh, I don't know. Yes, I think it's something that will do really well on audio. So it is another Clubhouse competition that we will be doing. Tomorrow night we are doing an interview with our wonderful Ellie for the winners interview. And next week we are introducing the panel because they were so busy judging that we actually didn't get to learn more about them. And then for the first Thursday in June, we will be starting another competition. And I'm happy to come and share that with you once I'm allowed to make that information public knowledge.
Fab. Thank you. We'll be there.
And we'll be there to ask those questions. I think we have to start serving liquor on this program because that's how we loosen our guests up. Sometimes get them to spill a little bit, but it'll be good to have you back and talk about that. So Debra, is Clubhouse becoming a kind of a cultural bridge across the Atlantic?
Oh, 100%. I've been quite lucky, you know, in animation. We started working remotely back in 2012. So, you know, this is when Disney moved in, they were restricted on space at the studios. So we started our remote working back then. And because it being independent animation production, it does tend to be on globally. You'll have, you know, the animation studios, usually Asia, Canada, you know, other countries. So we're used to working in that style. So we're used to cross-pollinating between America and the UK. But I am seeing that the world is getting smaller. You know, one of the guys, Bobby Del Rio, he'll love that I've mentioned his name on this, lives in Canada. And he's been repped now in LA because of Clubhouse, because people from LA have come across, you know, his talent. And he is now looking to be managed and repped in LA. So, you know, the Clubhouse, the world was getting smaller. And I think Clubhouse is making it, we're all in the same room.
I think that's amazing. Debra, it's so exciting to have you here. I just wanted to tell you that before the show, I watched your Webra multimedia sizzle reel, which was fantastic. And I watched an interview that you did. I love all the things that you're doing. You're just so talented. And I've been following you. I don't want to sound like a stalker, but I've been following you on Clubhouse. I was actually in the Hollywood room last night, the silent room. And I think for me, the Clubhouse journey has been incredible. And if anyone's not on there, I don't know what they're doing because it's such an amazing thing. So you shared with us about the talent competition and about Ellie. And I'm just wondering, what future prospects do you see for her?
Oh, the sky is the limit. You know, she is like a little diamond that I think once we start polishing off all of the facets, there's nowhere she can't go. She does musical theatre. She can tell you more about the Princess and the Frog performance they're doing on Clubhouse when she is interviewed in a moment. And, you know, great character voices. I'm just so excited, and I can't wait to work with her myself on some of the productions that we're looking to do later in the year.
Fantastic.
Very good, very good.
Congratulations.
Excellent.
So
And
lovely.
now over to Ellie.
Ellie, absolutely.
Hi, Ellie. It's nice to meet you.
Hi, it's so nice to meet everyone.
It's great.
So, can I ask a question first of all? I've done a little bit of voiceover work, not a lot. For me, the first time I ever had to do a voiceover, there was a script in front of me that was run by an electronic screen, and it zipped down. And I was supposed to have read about 2.5 minutes in about 15 seconds. You know, so I'm not the best one for doing something like this. And people say that my voice sends them off to sleep as well. So I just wonder, can you give me some tips, Ellie, and tell me a little bit about yourself as well at the same time?
Yeah, definitely. So my name is Ellie Rods, and I'm a voice actor, singer based in Miami. And yeah, voice acting is something that's incredibly fun. It's one of the funnest jobs that exists ever. So basically, one of the things that I would recommend, you did mention that your voice puts people to sleep, which actually you can use that as an advantage. A lot of us, we have like our niche. Like something that makes all of voice actors stand out is just a specific quality in their voice. Some people have very seductive voices. Some people have very, bright and chipper voices. So I would actually hone that strength and, just polish it and basically use it to your advantage. There's a lot in the market, even for calm, soothing voices. A lot of people like hearing audiobooks. So that could be something that totally would fit you.
Love that. Ellie, thank you. That made me chuckle, actually. No. Ellie, congratulations to begin with.
Thank you.
And also to say, what does it mean to you, winning the competition? I mean, which is huge, obviously, to win.
It is definitely, sorry about that. It's definitely a new beginning, and it's the beginning, like pretty much like Debra said, sky's the limit. So from here, once I have like such a great foundation for my career, that pretty much, if I just pretty much keep trying and keep, doing what I've been doing and developing my skill, I can go anywhere I want to go. And I feel like that's something that's very relevant in anyone's career. If you start off and you work hard, you will get where you want to go and where you need to be. But I'm incredibly grateful to Debra, to Hermione, to the panelists, to like even the finalists, because the finalists, they were even my friends as well. And all of us, it didn't really feel even like a competition because everyone was supporting each other. And we were all happy regardless of who won or not. So it's just such a great thing, and this has been incredibly life-changing. And I've been getting in touch with like new people. I've been talking to a lot of new, like even producers or new like other voiceover actors that I respect a lot, like Rick Party, like Rolanda, El Michelle, and there's just so many, and I'm just incredibly grateful.
Wow. Ellie, how hard is it to become a voiceover star? I'm asking for a friend.
Okay. So I would say that becoming a voice actor isn't necessarily hard. It is hard work, though, because to get into it, you can start off anyway. You can start off with pay-to-play sites, which is you just kind of audition. You can start off even by seeking an agent, anything like that. But I believe that the easiest way for you to start off, and I would recommend this to anyone that wants to become a voice actor, get a coach. Get a voice acting coach first, because the coach will train you. They'll tell you exactly what you need to do, how to work in the industry, how to have your home studio set up. I'm literally sitting in my booth right now. So they'll teach you how to like do all of these things. I have a wonderful coach called Tracy Fow, and she's amazing. She's been coaching me throughout my process. She helped me even throughout like any audition that I had, even like any like competition stuff as well. So she's amazing, and I do recommend getting a coach and surrounding yourself with like-minded people, mentors. One of my mentors is Happy Joy. She's amazing as well. Even my best friend, Ali Delvey, she's an awesome mentor as well. And we're both kind of in the same level in our career, where we started off literally this year and we're already, making traction and moving up and all of that stuff. And it's very fast paced, but it's awesome.
Great advice. Thanks, Ellie.
Ellie, thank you so much. I totally agree with you about the power of coaches and mentors. And I know at any given time, I have between 5 and 7 coaches. So yay for coaches, because they really help us see things that we wouldn't have seen. And I love your voice, by the way, your speaking voice. There's something that's it's so soothing, but yet there's this lightness to it. You really have a beautiful voice. So my question for you is, what would you say is your favorite thing about being a voiceover artist?
Pretty much like just acting, like being another person, and just creating stories. Like you have these characters in front of you and you have to come up with a voice for them, and it's just such an interesting process, and it's just so fun. And I get to pretty much explore every like area of my voice that maybe I didn't know I had. Like I can change up my voice and maybe like sound like a little kid, or I can just sound like a very old lady. Or I can sound like Marge Simpson, like, oh, Mom. So you have like many things you can do with your voice. And it's just so fun. It's honestly incredible. Even though it's work, it's fun work. When you do something you love, it doesn't really feel like work anymore. So for me, it's just incredibly fun. I get to even sing sometimes with my voiceover and pretty much do anything. So that's what I love the most about it. Just pretty much that it's super fun.
Thank you. Just a quick follow-up question. Is there anything you have to do to keep your vocal cords in good condition?
Oh, yes. So basically, since I sing and I do voiceover, that's a lot of usage of your vocal cords. So I try to rest a lot in between. I try not to like speak more than I should throughout the week, or I try to kind of speak maybe a little bit softer to keep my voice in good condition. Also, honey is really good. Honey's awesome. I would recommend tea as well. Tea's awesome too. It warms up your throat. I wouldn't put anything with lemon in any of your drinks because the acid could kind of make your throat act up too. But yeah, just a lot of vocal care and a lot of rest.
Can I just ask a question as well? Because you're talking about honey, Ellie, and I totally agree with you. So I take Manuka honey, which is a honey from New Zealand.
Amazing.
And it's number one. It's got to be Manuka number one as well. There's 1 to 6 in scale, and it's number one. Do you take Manuka honey?
Yes, I have tried Manuka honey before, and they're amazing. You're literally on the right track.
I would have to say that I take apple cider vinegar, which literally burns my throat. So that has to be bad if you're a voiceover artist, I would think.
Oh yeah, I would avoid apple cider vinegar anytime you have to do any performance. Avoid dairy, just anything that could irritate your throat. And it's like the singers too, so just stay away from it if you're gonna perform. But if you're then it's okay, I guess.
Well, we are so happy for you. Congratulations again. We can't wait to see where you go from here, and we're all supporting you in your journey. Debra, I want to come back to you for any final comments.
Yeah, I just want to do a final thank you and shout out to the team that helped, because it really was like a full production in the back office. Hermione, who was our left-hand lady, Mark Summers, who organised the event with us, for Francine Lewis, who was our hostess. And of course, I'm going to have to read the list because, as we get older, our memory is not as good as it used to be. But, we had Nancy, Bobby Del Rio. Of course, we had Emma Harvey, who joined us as the agent. There was Rick Party from America, Jay Simon from New Zealand, Lisa Graydon from the UK, Madeline French from Australia. We had Rolanda Watts from LA, Rose Rosen from the East Coast, and El Michelle and the man with the voice from the USA as well. So it truly was an international crew that helped us. And I'd like to say sincerely, guys, I really appreciate all the time, energy and effort you gave to help us
Great.
Launch a new star, because Ellie, I really do think she is going to be a star.
She's definitely going to be a star. We can't wait, and we're here to support you again. So we'd love to have you come back and tell us how you're doing. And Debra, of course, we'd love to have you come back as well, because you're up to amazing, great things. So thank you both for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us, guys.
Bye-bye. Best wishes.
Bye.
All right. Thank you so much. We are going to take a break. We do have a comment. Yes, from Philip. We love you, Philip. Thank you so much. we have another exciting guest backstage, and he's been waiting patiently. We can't wait to, and he has a friend with him, by the way. So we'll do the introductions when we come back. But first, we're going to hear from some of our sponsors. Stay tuned.
Hello, boys and girls, and welcome to Story Garden. Your host, Diane Boehm. I'm so happy to have you here today.
Diane Floyd Boehm tells wonderful stories that warm the heart, spark the imagination, and unite people and families across generations. For children, Diane's Harry the Camel connects with all of us who've ever wondered how different our lives might have been if only we'd been born something better, like a wonderful horse instead of an ordinary camel. In the end, we all learn along with Harry that there's nothing better than just being yourself. Diane's Little Girl in the Moon looks down on earthbound children and wonders if they know she's just like them. A story of love, home, and the bond between mother and daughter, its powerful theme that we're each of us different yet all of us the same plants a seed in children that promises to blossom within a loving and trusting grown-up. Diane's new biography, Rise, recounts the experiences of her grandmother, Ruby, to reveal the hidden strength of the human spirit. Ruby's story inspires all of us to become the best versions of ourselves. You'll find all of Diane's delightful books and much more at dianefloydboehm.com. Visit dianefloydboehm.com. That's dianefloydboehm.com. Welcome back to Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn. My name is Cini, and Dr. Jacalyn is on the wire too, running a great episode. I just want to tell everybody my two voice coaches are Jack Daniels and Johnny Walker. Thinking about that, probably not the best choice. So I think I'm going to have to make a change. But Ian and Helena, sorry, Ian?
Do you know, Al, you've got such a great voice at the same time. You know, I can see you doing alcohol commercials. You're doing hat commercials.
I think Al does voiceovers.
We're just trolling for sponsors every chance we get. But I do want to point out, we had a little bit of a chance to speak with Hardeep before the program, and what an inspirational story.
Amazing.
So Ian and Helena, why don't you introduce us?
Absolutely. Well, this is Hardeep Rai, who is a great friend of mine as well. And hopefully on his knee, we're going to see the dog that, that really wags the tail.
Ted.
What's the dog's name?
His name is Ted.
Ted.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just checking. Okay. That's a
he's a Jack Daniels. He's a cross between a Jack Daniels. You got me started. A Jack Russell. A Jack Russell and a Chihuahua.
He's adorable.
Oh, that's
You
really
just
fun.
gave him billing on your title.
Exactly.
Good to have him with us.
Hardeep is a great friend of mine. Now, Hardeep will tell us in a second, please, because basically you were a very high-powered financial executive in the City of London, and then your son was born, and that's really changed your life. It's changed your direction, and creating sort of something that is the most incredible thing in Great Britain today. So tell us a little bit about your story, Hardeep, please.
Thank you, Ian. And first of all, I'm delighted to be here today. Jacalyn and Al, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to be on your show. So as you said, Ian, very kindly, I spent a good 15, 16 years in the city. I worked in the hedge fund industry, financial services. I had to be very commercial in the way I thought. I was doing extremely well, pretty much at the top of my career, I would say. And then on November the 18th, 2006, my little son, Ishan, who you see in the background over here, quite young, was born. And at the last minute, there was a severe birthing complication. He lacked oxygen to the brain for a period of 17 minutes. And that created a global brain damage to him. And the first thing we were told was that if he survives, I mean, you've got a period of a few days. If he survives, he's going to be very, very severely disabled. His condition is called cerebral palsy. He's going to be a vegetable. Not my words, hospital's words. We were given the option of actually turning off his life support machine, would you believe, when he was in front of us. It was really, really awful. And I think one of the first things that hit me, Ian, was the fact that all this money that I'd saved up over these years couldn't reverse his brain damage. And the other thing that hit me was, 1 minute previously, my life was, in inverted commas, going exactly as I needed it to in every single way possible. But within the next few minutes, everything changed. My entire purpose, my entire outlook, my entire vision, my entire dream, everything changed because I couldn't see past the fact that this little baby had been born into our life in a very, very different way. So it was very, very difficult, Ian, and I don't talk about mental health very much, but in the world that we're in today, especially post-COVID, it was an extremely trying time from a mental health point of view in terms of questioning yourself, why me? Why did this happen? And those are some very difficult things that we go through. But what came out of Ishan being born the way that he was understanding the world of disability, interacting with people with disabilities, suddenly understanding that they communicate in a totally different way to what we might be used to. But that doesn't mean that they're not capable. They're very capable. You just have to see things in a different way, and you just have to change your perspective. So that was a very, very important thing for me to learn, from Ishan's experience. And a few years later, I met my business partner, Shane Bratby, off goes Ted now, Shane Bratby, who helped me to understand that people with disabilities really struggle with starting businesses because investors don't look at them as investable typically. They look at them from a grant point of view or from a charitable point of view or from a competition point of view. So what we suddenly thought was, why don't we set up a business with my sort of financial background and entrepreneurship background that would help disabled people to start their own businesses and invest in them as individuals, look past their disability and support them in a way that they needed to be supported. So that was how Kaleidoscope was really born. It was an investment company that was meant to help people with disabilities to start their own businesses.
Wow. Amazing. I mean, that is an amazing journey. Thank you for sharing that with us.
That's cool.
Pretty, yeah, it's great. And you've devoted your life to Ishan, obviously, and you've created opportunities for people with disabilities. I mean, are there any highs, lows that you can share with us?
Yeah, I think my greatest high, that's a great question, Helena. My greatest high was actually being at NatWest, who's been our sponsoring bank, back in 2015. We held the first ever Disabled Entrepreneurs Conference that there'd ever been. And I was standing in front of 200 people with different types of disabilities. And we had sign language interpreters, we had a hearing loop, we had people from all different types of disabilities. And I just stood up in front of them, and I don't mind talking, you know, I love talking. And I just froze for a moment, and I thought, my goodness, this is what life is about. This is what life is about. It's about making an impact, making a change, watching a community of people that are otherwise don't get the opportunity necessarily around entrepreneurship to be able to network with each other. I think that's been incredibly powerful for me. So that was one of my best highs ever. And you can't put money on that. Okay, that's not a monetary high. That's a real fulfilling high. The low, one of my biggest lows has been running a business is a challenge. I have to say that, you know, and I think that we've expanded from entrepreneurship into recruitment. So we have a recruitment arm now that will help people with disabilities to find employment, because that's a very big issue for a lot of people around the world today, is actually getting disabled people into jobs. So I think, you know, coming up across barriers from companies that are making excuses not to hire disabled people is sometimes really difficult to hear, Helena, because, you know, you need people to change their mindsets. And there's a lot of people that have paid lip service to things over the years. And I think now is the time to change. And I think pushing against that wall and constantly fighting can be draining sometimes. You know, that takes a lot out of you. But I think being an entrepreneur and making sure that you've got the right drive and motivation, you know, I'm a Christian as well. I feel very mission led in what I'm doing. And of course, my little boy over here keeps me going, is what constantly pushes. But, you know, we are pushing against a lot of closed doors here, and we are trying to change the way the world thinks.
Well, you know, listening to your story, you asked the question, why me? Which I'm sure has been translated into every human language. And I'm sure every human in the history of humans has asked that question at one time or another. And the power of your story, Hardeep, is that you're encouraging people to think past the pain and look for the positive answer to that question. It's a challenge. And so how are you going to meet that challenge? And for so many people with disabilities, maybe you can explain how difficult it is for them to find jobs in the UK and probably everywhere.
Yeah, I think that's a great question, Al. Thank you. I think one of the first challenge for a person with a disability, and I have met 1,200 plus, okay, 1,200 people with disabilities from 65 different types of disabilities from 28 countries. Okay, so in my experience, I just want to say in my experience, the biggest challenge first is overcoming the hurdle of self-confidence. Because a lot of people with disabilities, they haven't had the opportunities they deserve. They've been knocked, they've been rejected, they've been made to feel that the careers or the pathway that they want to follow isn't going to be available for them. Okay, so they've had to change. They've had to change their goalposts, and they've had to become people they almost don't want to be, take opportunities they don't want to take, and become a lot more demotivated. And that demotivation eventually affects your mental health. It eventually gets you more depressed. And it then makes you a worse individual to be interviewed or to be positive with, because you've had all these knocks. So the first thing I would say is that you've got to try and find your strengths and your talents and not let society define who you are, but let yourself define who you are. Really think about what your talents are. And I say this from somebody that had a dream job. You know, one of the things I didn't say is that in the UK, we have a fantastic entrepreneur. We have a show called Dragon's Den, and I worked for a dragon once called James Caan. And the thing that I learned about that experience is a dream is achievable. You've got to believe that you can achieve a dream. And I would say that with people with disabilities, the world we live in now, it's changing. People are becoming more open. You know, a dear friend of ours, Caroline Casey, in the Valuable 500 initiative, which is all about getting disability on the boardroom agenda, just achieved a massive milestone over the last 24 hours, and that they achieved 500 companies in the world that bought into this. This is something significant. So there is change afoot, but people have to be brave. Approach companies like Kaleidoscope that think in a very entrepreneurial way that could help you to define what it is that you actually want to do. And, you know, I think, Al, to your question about UK and employment, of course it's difficult, without question. But I think people are engaging us. We've heard in the last 6 to 9 months, especially as we're beginning to come out of COVID, that people are thinking about recruitment again. So I actually think with people with disabilities, especially this new way of working from home, where you don't have to always physically travel, is a fantastic opportunity to get to find jobs more in line with what you may want.
Hardeep, this is such a powerful story. I found myself, very moved backstage here, and I'm just thinking about everything that you shared with us. Here, you're really successful. You've done well in your career, and no matter how much money you have, no matter all the people you know, it doesn't make a difference because you are faced with this challenge and decisions that you have to make. And my question for you is, I'm sure there are other people out there who would really like to know this. They are going through something similar. Maybe it's a different discipline. Maybe their child has something else. But what would you say to them when they have to make these tough decisions that they know that they're on the right path and they're doing the right thing?
I'm getting some very good questions here. Thank you, Jacalyn. If I were to talk about what I had to do, I had to reboot my entire life, literally press pause on 36 years and reevaluate. Number one, what is my purpose on this earth? What do I really want to achieve as Hardeep? What do I want to do? What do I want my legacy to be? Okay, so it's understanding what you as an individual want to be able to do, because I still think that as human beings, whatever we have, whether it's a family member with a disability, whether we have a disability, we have to understand what it is that we want, and we have to think about that very deeply. The second thing we need to think about is, what are we capable of, right? Everybody can do something. I think it was a famous tennis player, Martina Navratilova. She had a wonderful phrase, and one of her quotations, which is, everybody is good at something. Everybody is good at something. Okay. It's identifying what that thing is that you're good at. Okay. And then it is all about being brave. Okay. And having the courage to try and make that change and make an impact. And you're talking to somebody that's done that, right? These are not empty words. You're talking to somebody that's sort of, I have this sort of sometimes it's an imagination that you're flying sky high and then you hit rock bottom, and you think that's rock bottom until you fall down the drain and then you go into the sewers, and then you realize you're rock bottom, right? When you hit that rock bottom, that's when you find that core strength and that drive and motivation. And I think what you have to do is that, when I look at my son, for instance, he doesn't communicate, he's nonverbal. Yet I have the best ever conversations with him, because I just have to lie down with him, or I just have to be around his energy. I just have to watch the way that he looks at me or he smiles at me. And I've got my communication, I've got my drive, I've got my motivation, excuse me. And that's what drives me. So I think it's really important to understand your drivers, your motivation, and money. We think money is a great motivator. Money will come and go. Money will come and go in life, right? Money is not the right motivation. You need to think differently about your life and what you want to achieve. So that's what I would say to people that are in the position that we're in now. And a lot of people sometimes say to me when they come and visit Ishin, they actually have an appreciation for their life, right? And they say, and they may not say it in this way, but I know they're thinking is, wow, my life is not that bad, because look at this poor kid and what he can't do, and look at the kind of first world problems that we complain about. I don't hold umbrage to that at all, but people need to realize that there are much bigger problems in this world. And, people with different types of disabilities can still find a way to communicate, can still find a way to do really good things. You just have to give them the opportunity and give them the confidence to do that.
Oh, that is so powerful. Hardeep, you're the first trillionaire we've ever interviewed. The first.
You know what? The funny thing is, I'm nowhere near a trillionaire. And
talks about value, not money, which is really your point.
Thank you. Yes. That's very kind of you to say.
Can I make a point as well? Because I think something that I've worked with some of the people and with Hardeep quite a bit. Now, Hardeep, don't you agree that most people, myself, I give 100%. Helena gives 100%. Disabled people give 1,000%.
Very true.
Because they really, really, really value anything that they're given as a job. Would you like to comment on that?
Yeah. Well, Ian, you've been a fantastic supporter of Kaleidoscope, and the fact that we're here today is evidence of that again. And you've been good enough to come to some of our sessions, and you've actually met with some of our entrepreneurs. And you are 100% right. You know, people with disabilities, what they do behind the scenes is something that most of us would have no idea about. I have people in my team that spend 2.5 to 3 hours every morning just getting ready. And yet, if I said to them, could you please be at a call at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock? They won't even think twice. They're there, right? And there's other people that will go offline for 3 or 4 days. I won't hear from them. My own partner's a bit similar to that. But then all of a sudden he's there 24 hours a day for the next 4 days, right? Everybody has a different way of working. And you're right, it will take them longer to do things. I have blind individuals working with me. You know, they have to read the screen using JAWS. It takes much longer. There are people that are deaf that work with us, you know, finding interpreters that have got convenient times when you need them. So they do absolutely work much harder, but a lot of them don't say anything about it. They just carry on. And this is the thing that I found that is the most remarkable, is that actually to them, a job is a job, and they will give it their best. And they might work in a different way. And my attitude, Ian, is, as you know, I don't clock hours that people work. For me, it doesn't matter about the hours. It's about the output, right? You work when you want, when it's convenient. Let's have a target we're aiming towards. And that's how I've learned to operate now. You know, it's not about hours anymore. So you're right. They work so much harder. They don't necessarily say very much about it. But then their output is very often different because they think differently.
You are truly an amazing person, Hardeep, just incredible. But I have another question for you. We've had a number of people on some other shows that I have, and they talked about the connection between animals and people. And so I'm wondering what role Ted plays in the relationship with your son and also with you, that Ted can probably sense feelings and emotions. Would you say that's correct?
Yeah, that's very, very true. I mean, look, I have to be honest. I have not been a great dog lover until my partner came into my life 3.5 years ago. And Ted is actually her dog. And I'm so attached to him. It's unbelievable, right? We have a little piano stool right next to me, and he's got a blanket. And he sits on that blanket. When I work, he's sleeping. And very often, you know, they say it's calming to be able to stroke something or to play with something when you're working. In the city, you might have a stress ball or something like that. With Ted, it's like a real life toy that's in your lap that will lick you, give you love, you know, just kind of make you feel, actually, that's what I would call is unconditional love. That's what I would say. You know, for me, that's what I feel from him. And for Ishan, when in the days pre-COVID, I used to put Ted on Ishan's wheelchair and I used to push him around. And Ted was very considerate with Ishan. He sensed something was different. He would lick him in a different way. He would curl up in a ball in a different way. So I think dogs are very, very intuitive. And in fact, all animals, Jacalyn, I think that it's a very good thing for a human being, I think.
Thank you for sharing that. And Ted, we're glad that you're on the show with us, even though you're not there right now. But
he is. His mum's come home now, so he's gone to his mum.
My last question for you for today, I hope that you'll come back because we have plenty of questions, but let's talk about how we can help you in America. So in terms of getting investments or providing employment opportunities, what can we do to support your work?
So that's a great question, Jacalyn. I think the most important thing for me right now is to get the investment community to think about disability in a different way. We live in a world where we're all thinking about making 10x or 20x or 30x returns on investments, especially a lot of these venture capitalists. And technology in the accessible space, you know, disability space, it's a huge arena. Everybody wants to get involved in it. And it's important because actually technology helps people with disabilities to communicate. But there are hundreds, thousands of disabled people that actually have amazing ideas that may not yield those 10x or 20x or 30x returns, but that are still fantastic returns, that can still make people money, that can still make a very big difference to society, that can still have a very, very big social impact, okay? And this is something we need to think about, social impact. And I want investors, and I implore investors to think differently now. Let's think in a venture philanthropy way. A lot of people out there that are in this world will understand venture philanthropy. They'll understand ESG, environment, social governance, in terms of the way people are trying to think. And I would love people to approach us that have this venture philanthropy mindset and ask us, what have we learned over the last 6 years? Who have we met? What sectors are going to grow? What types of individuals are going to succeed? Because guess what? We have that information and we want to share it. Because actually, we can't succeed by ourselves. We need other people to partner with us, and we need people to think differently. So for me, disability, entrepreneurship, thinking differently, and trusting in people with disabilities to succeed, but in a different way. In a different way. It might take them a bit longer. You might have to be a bit more patient, but I can assure you that I've built a team and I've built a process and a structure that will enable that to happen if people give us a chance. And there's a lot of big philanthropists in the world today. America is phenomenal for this, right? So it's engaging people like that to understand that here is an opportunity that people are not seeing, but we've seen. So give us a chance to be able to explain that to you. And I promise you won't be disappointed.
Thank you so much for your authenticity, for your transparency, for being a beacon of light, and for your leadership. You're just doing incredible work there. For people who are interested in investing or interested in reaching out and they can't read the banner, they're listening on the radio, what's the best way to contact you?
So our website is www.kaleidoscope.group, and that's spelled KALEIDOSCOPE, kaleidoscope.group. You're testing my spelling there, Jacalyn.
You did very well.
I had to take a pause and think, how do I spell kaleidoscope?
Well, it has certainly been our pleasure having you here. And as I should have mentioned to our other guests as well, we'd love to have you come back on this show and others. We have, I think, 16 other programs. And so we'd love to have you share your story there as well. And for anybody who might have missed any of our guests and their interviews from the beginning of the show, please go over to our YouTube channel, Dr. Jacalyn LLC, and subscribe, and you can watch the show from the beginning there.
Thank you very much, Jacalyn. And
thank you
Al.
again.
And thank you again, Ian and Helena. Lovely to see you.
So powerful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye, Ted. See you later.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Well, as if Hal had his hat on, I'd say hats off to you two for the incredible group of guests you brought today. Just amazing. We've got.
I am not going to be outdone by Sir Alfred.
I just want to add one last point. I know we're close to wrapping up, but there are plenty of reasons to visit the UK. If you're an American, you'll have a wonderful time. There are places to go. There are things to see. But for me, in every trip, and I've been there dozens of times, meeting the people, getting to know people like your guests and like you, Ian and Helena, is a real reason why you want to go. You'll make great friends forever, and just such a great country to get to know people.
Thank you, Al. That's great. That's very kind.
You.
Yeah.
That's lovely.
And we love you as well. You know,
We love Al with Dr. Jacalyn.
we need to build a big bridge between across the.
I am having so much fun. It's amazing.
Yeah,
we have one more comment from Michael Green. Thank you, Michael. We love your participation. We love hearing from people out there. So thank you again.
Thank you.
Ian and Helena, I can't wait to see who you have up for next week. And I hate that it seems too long in between show to show. I wish we could be getting together in person and hanging out. That would be so much fun.
So much fun.
We will do. We will do.
We definitely will.
Yeah, and thank you so much for all the support that you're giving us as well.
Really,
and we've got some exciting news for the future. We will tell you soon about that as well.
Oh, good, perfect.
It's just going to get more funner.
Is that a word, Mr. Al?
Yeah,
Well, it could be. Only in the United States, not in the UK.
I like it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ian and Helena. We'll see you again soon.
Okay, take care.
Bye-bye.
Pleasure.
Oh my goodness, incredible.
It was great. Don't you have stuff to do? You have to run off and do something else, don't you?
Yes, I'm going to announce to our audience the other shows that I have coming up, but I just wondered if you might want to say anything about BCAT.
Well, the brand and culture, aligning people with purpose is what we do for a living. We developed a scientific method for that. It's very simple. It's fun. There's some numbers under it, but you don't see the numbers. What you see are the results. That when people are, Hardeep was a great example of it. When you've connected with a purpose, you become more powerful. You become more productive. You become happier. A lot of people think making people happy is how you make them productive. It's the other way around. People that are committed to a purpose become happy. Happy is an effect, not a cause. And every company can do it. Every organization is capable of it. We just get sometimes so buried under the transactions that we manage every day that we kind of overlook the importance of being connected to a source of energy. And that's what we do with the Brand and Culture Alignment Toolkit. So thanks for the opportunity to explain that. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Jacalyn.
Mr. Alfred Cini, how do people get in touch with you?
I'm al.cini at getbcat.com, and scrolling across the bottom of the screen, there's a toll-free number, 855-999-BCAT.
How did you get that cool number, Mr. Cini? I love it.
It took a couple of days. I had to kill somebody.
No, stop.
Don't tell anybody.
Well, it's been a pleasure working with you again, my friend. I look forward to seeing you for our business show, which is in about 2.5 hours.
Yep, I'll be there.
All right, perfect. Thank you. I'm just going to close out the show with some announcements, and I'll see you soon.
Appreciate it.
Hello, everyone. I'm so excited. I'm literally beaming. It's either that or the bronzer I put on. We have some great shows that are coming up in half an hour. It's the Underdog Show with Mr. Ben Chai. And our guest today is Sherry Roberts. I believe she's also joining us from the UK. Then at 2 o'clock Eastern time, which is, I'm getting good at this, 7 o'clock British Summer Time, we have the Business Talk Show with my co-host, Mr. Al Cini, and our guest, Trish Robichaud. Then at 4 p.m., which is 9 p.m. British Summer Time, we have A Better You, lessons from the best coaches, consultants, and trusted advisors. This is my little baby that Al and I have worked on so hard. We're actually launching an online learning platform. So people come on our show, they present a 15-minute lesson to make us better personally or professionally. And our guest today presenting are Hyatt Ives. He's going to be talking about grammar, and Megan Sandwick, and she's going to be giving us some productivity tips. And then finally, our last show of the day is In the Name of Love with co-host Kimmy Seltzer. And our guest is the lovely Donna Barnes. I love having her on. She's been a guest several times. So please do join us. That's at 5:30 Eastern Time, which is 10:30 British Summer Time. Finally, my book is coming out. Yes, the book is finished. It's ready to be launched. We just have to press the little button in Amazon and send it live. So that will be available for pre-orders on Sunday. And it's called Behind the Green Screen, How to Succeed in the Live Broadcasting Business. So that's all for today, folks. That's a wrap. I'm glad to see you. Thank you again to Al and to Ian and Helena, to Debra. Everybody was here. Hardeep, Brooke, Ellie, it was just fantastic. Thank you again. We'll look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye.